how to avoid lying. That's the important thing, okay? So if you believe in me, you believe in this case, you're gonna wonder how you can avoid lying in a society that people lie consistently and without effort and sometimes automatically, okay? Lying is a social lubricant, and you are expected to lie in social situations, and it's hard to avoid lying. You're not expected to express how you feel at all times. You're expected to express the right feeling for that particular social situation. And a lot of times you're paid for the performance. I know this very clearly. I used to make my living in sales, and that's what sales is about. And my life is much better now that I'm able to just talk to you guys and speak my truth and speak what I actually feel about things. But it is difficult to do, and there's three ways that you should go about avoiding lying. This is how to do it. Okay, so number one is be mindful. Being mindful will stop you from automatically, unconsciously lying. And as you start to become more self-aware, you realize how much you actually lie unconsciously and automatically. And it was one of those things that where I became more mindful and realized that. So that's the first thing you have to do. Be mindful, and then when you become mindful, you're like, oh, I'm actually telling a lie here. Let's not do that, because that's going to create unnecessary complications in my life. Number two, remove people from your life who expect a performance. Like I said, lying is a social lubricant, and you're expected to perform. And the further away from your true self, your representative or your performances from your true self, the more you're going to have to lie. And the more you keep people around you who expect your performance, whether it's relatives who are very judgmental, whether it is working a job where you have to be very straight-laced and conservative, or whether it is having a social circle of friends who would not accept your true self, you have to make a decision of, do I want to be my authentic self and be able to express my truth, or do I want to keep putting on this performance? And if you actually want to become your authentic self, you have to remove people who will not, who don't accept you and who expect you to perform. Otherwise, those relationships are going to become very strained and very uncomfortable and very unfun for both of you, really. And that's a very important thing. And yes, okay, for most jobs, you're not going to be able to do that. Again, it comes back to what I always tell you guys, which is to start your own business. And when you have your own business, you have control of your own time, and you don't have to put on a performance unless you want to. Number three, how to avoid lying. Learn how to deliver what I call a shit sandwich. A shit sandwich is in the rare case where you really have to do break rapport and call someone out, or a client doesn't have the right expectations, or your girlfriend's doing something that you don't like. Okay, you don't just blurt out brutal, blunt honesty. You compliment, and then you softly criticize, and then you compliment again. So the shit is in the middle. It's in the middle between two compliments, and the compliments are the bread. Okay, it's kind of a nasty expression, but I think it's one that's fitting, and it's something that you should learn if you want to be honest, but you don't want to be brutally honest and unnecessarily offensive. So if someone's doing something that you really don't like, then you say, look, I really like spending time with you, but I don't like when you do this particular thing, and I would love if we could move forward and have you not doing that thing, and we could get back to this great relationship, just as an example. Okay, that's how you actually avoid lying without unnecessarily hurting someone's feelings. So those are the three major ways to avoid lying. And that is the genesis of it. But with that said, there are always exceptions to the rule, and there are certain situations where I think it is okay to lie. I don't think it is a black and white situation, okay? If the army's at the door and you're hiding people who are enemies of them, or your family's in danger, okay, there's going to be situations where lying is the best move. And sometimes a lie is the best card to play, and everybody lies a little bit. Nobody never lies, and anyone says that they never lie is fucking lying to you, okay? I'm telling you the truth right now. I'm telling you the truth about this stuff, but I'm not going to say that I never lie. I'm going to say that I try and lie as little as possible, but there are certain situations where I think it is acceptable to lie. And number one is people who put guns in your face, people who are using force against you, either physically or economically, or they have boxed you into a situation where, you know, if you don't do X, then force, economic or physical force, will be applied to you. And I think it is acceptable to lie in those situations, because you're not forcing people with guns. You're not economically forcing people to do things. You're not the type of person who's blackmailing people. So if people are trying to do those things to you, I think a lie is acceptable in those situations, or to your family. Number two, getting out of slavery or getting free. Okay, if you are starting your own business on the side, but you're working a job to save money, at that job, you still have to be the good company man. Even if you hate the job, even if you hate your coworkers, even if you hate the idea of having someone, pimping on you and getting you to do a bunch of work that you don't particularly like. At those situations, you're going to have to play the role of the good corporate boy, even though you know you're not going to be there 5 years from now. You're going to be on your own doing your own business. You still have to play that game, and it's your freedom, and that is an acceptable case to lie, in my opinion. Number three, anytime your survival's in jeopardy, period. Number four, and this one, you can take it or leave it. I think small, noble lies are okay. Sometimes you don't want to always talk to your mom on the phone. She might ask you, do you want to talk to me, or this? Yeah, no, of course, Mom. I'm always happy to talk to you. Things like that, where it's a small thing. It's kind of based on your particular feeling at the moment, and you're avoiding hurting someone's feelings. You're not deceiving them in any major way. You're not, doing something that's going to be very painful for them. It's just a small little thing where, you don't want to hurt that person's feelings. And a small, what I call noble lie, I think is okay. You might not think it's okay, but I think it's okay. And, you want to avoid it if you can, but sometimes that's something you have to do. And lastly, number five, when it's okay to lie, is in state checks. Okay, if you ask me how I'm doing, you're never gonna. If I'm having a really bad day or whatever, you're never gonna hear about that. Okay, the honest thing would be like, oh man, I'm fucking pissed off. Problem with my processor, and then this other thing happened, and I'm on this technical project that's fucking pissing me off, and these other things. No one wants to hear that shit. If you ask me how I'm doing, I'm either going to say I'm doing good, or I'm doing great, or I'm doing excellent. And that is what's to be expected, especially if you're hanging out with your guy friends. All right, if you guys have all gone out for beers, that's not the time for your sob story. If guys are asking how you doing, you want to pump it up, pump your state up, elevate yourself, forget about what the problems that were going on were, and answer in the affirmative, answer in positive.